Okay, let's start the show.
It's September 18th, 2014. Welcome to This Is Only a Test, the official podcast of Tested.com. I'm Will Smith, seated directly to my left. Norman Chan, how are you doing today,
Hello.
sir?
It's very warm in San Francisco today. It's been warm this whole week.
West Coast is warm so far in September.
99 degrees in LA.
Oh,
Last week, I was with Veronica Belmont in Portland, Oregon, where it was the hottest I've ever seen the Pacific Northwest.
it was intense.
It's like the surface of the sun up there. It must have hit 90 at least.
and there were a lot of geeks up there, and we did not do well.
I didn't take shorts. I was
Really?
just jeans and beards. It was real sweaty. Thanks for coming on the show again, Veronica.
Of course, thank you for having me.
So we were at XOXO,
Chocho.
which is the real dumb way to say XOXO, I think, but it was funny.
Is that what Chocho?
Somebody said Chocho. I can't remember who it was. I want to say
It was
Binks. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny.
Yeah.
Everybody laughed. Got a good laugh. But XOXO is a thing for people who seems like just for people who make stuff. It's a festival for people who make
Make
stuff.
culture.
Yeah, video games, music, film, animation, short films, documentaries, websites.
A lot of great talks.
It's like 10.
Can you talk about the origin of XOXO?
I don't really know if I know the origin.
It was a kickstarted.
this is my first year, so you've been there before.
So yeah, I went the first year that they did it and missed last year due to a variety of things that we won't get into. But then came back this year, and it started out Andy Bio and Andy McMillan. Andy Bio is Wax Pancake on Twitter, I think. And he was an early blogger before blogging had a name. He lives in Portland and basically met this guy Andy McMillan, and they kind of met each other once and then hung out one night and had this dumb idea. And they were like, we have a lot of overlap in friends or something. I can't remember the origin of that, but the upshot is they said, I'm tired of going to other places for stuff to meet cool people. Not that it's not a problem in Portland, but they wanted to bring cool people to Portland and kind of have a place where people who make stuff can talk about the things. Really, just know that they're not alone.
So it's a if you build it, they will come.
Pretty much
Mindset. And Andy Bio also he did Delicious.
He's an ex Yahoo. Yeah.
Right. I miss Delicious. I mean, I know it's back, but
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's like Flickr even is more the same than it was, but it's still not the same.
Yeah.
So he started. It wasn't Kickstarter, but
No, it was a Kickstarter.
I guess it was a Kickstarter campaign for a conference to raise money, and
He just used it to sell tickets.
Right.
Like that's if you wanted to go to XO, there were 300 or 400 or something tickets at $300 or $400 a piece, which seems like a lot of money if you're thinking about like a concert, but compared to like trade show conferences, it's pretty cheap.
Yeah, and all those like TED Talks and Summit Series and
it's like a mini TED Talk,
those
mini
are,
TED event,
Those are expensive.
but not
I mean,
as
those
Illuminati.
are thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's a little less. There's a little less kind of self promotion than TED has become.
Yeah, and frankly, people talked about their failures. They talked about depression, stuff they've had trouble with in their lives that prohibited them from being creative at that moment. It was it felt like a really nice therapy session.
It was a little cross between therapy and summer camp, is what I like to think of. So they do talks during the day, and this is a new venue this year, but it's in an old steel foundry. It was in an old steel foundry, which was really cool and also super warm.
Super hot.
But at least it was shady, so that worked.
Can anyone go?
Yeah, well, so I think you apply at a certain period. They open registration. It's an application process. You basically, it's not like we're going to judge you and decide if you get in. It's more they want to make sure that they get people who make stuff, and it feels like a direct response to South by being all about biz dev guys now
and marketing and promotion.
And like I'm going to go to South by and launch my killer app, and then I walked around with the press badge at South by this year, and it was a disaster because you couldn't go to the bathroom without somebody standing at the urinal next to you. Oh, you're press, huh? What have you heard about my app?
Oh man.
Yeah, so
there hasn't been anything interesting launched at South by in so long either. It's like
2007.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
So XO was fun, and then I think my favorite part of XO, the talks are wonderful and inspiring, and we'll definitely post some of those on the site as
They're
they
recorded
come
but
online.
not live streamed.
It's not live streamed. Usually it takes a couple of weeks to maybe a month or two to get those videos done and edited, because they do multicam and all that stuff. But I'm keeping an eye on the site, and as I was watching the talks, I was noting, okay, this one we'll put on the site, this one we'll put on the site, this one. Just ton of good information there.
You did more of the cool video game stuff than I had a chance to do. You went to the arcade.
So the fun part about XO is the nighttime events.
Missed it.
It's like 10:30 to 4:30 or 5 or something. They do talks. You break for lunch. There's lots of breaks during the day to kind of, people will be sitting out talking and playing board games, or drinking beer or whatever. And then at night you have a few hours break to go get dinner, and then starting from like 7 until 1 a.m. usually, they have 3 different things going on at any given time. Music ran both nights. So there's a bar down the street from the venue that's called Holocene, where they had like the first year I went to more of the music stuff, because it was like it's kind of like chiptunes folks and MC, what's his name? I can't remember. The bald guy that sings
Frontalot.
Yeah.
Damien.
Good, like, that year was kind of nerdcore stuff. This year it was a little more like Molly Lewis played, Marion Call played.
Yeah, I know. I was really sad I didn't see them, because I'm pals with them, and I saw Marion at the conference, but I didn't see her. I didn't see Molly wandering around. I don't know if
she cut her hair. I didn't recognize her.
Oh, was that it? Maybe I walked right by her then. Now I feel terrible.
I saw her at one of the mixers, the opening party for
cool.
that Laughing Squid put on.
Yeah. At the Green Dragon.
At the Green Dragon, said hello.
It's kind of like a Woodstock crowd.
It's a little Woodstocky. Like, I met a ton of people who just who had cool Kickstarters that I either backed or looked at and was like, oh, that's really neat. I bumped into Doug Wilson without knowing that it was Doug Wilson. Talked to him for ages, played games with him. He's the guy who made JS Joust, Sebastian Joust.
Gotcha.
Zach Gage, who made Bit Pilot and I think Spell Tower and Guts of Glory, was there and showing people Guts of Glory.
Storium. Did you play around with Storium at all?
No.
Storium was a Kickstarter that is kind of like interactive storytelling. So you get a group together, and then someone's the narrator, and so they pick out the plot points. And it's all on the web, and it's really cool. It's kind of like being Dungeon Master, except you can tell an urban fantasy tale or a romance tale or
you don't
whatever.
have to have the combat stuff happening.
You don't have to,
okay.
no. But exactly. It's not that kind of game. It's more just pure storytelling stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really fun.
So let's see. Then they also had, in addition to the music stuff every night, you kind of had to choose, and you could bounce back and forth between the different stuff at night if you wanted to. But you had board games one night and video games the next, arcade the next. The video game night, or switch that. The video game night was great. It had a bunch of experimental games. So like Bennett Foddy brought Speed Chess, which you can actually go download now if you want to play it. Imagine if chess wasn't something where you each took your own turn, and instead was a team sport where every person controlled one piece.
I was on Gweek yesterday, and Dean Putney was talking about Speed Chess, and he's obsessed with it.
It is. So Bennett had like 10 or 12 SNES controllers hooked up to a PC or a Mac or something, and we were playing Speed Chess with like 10 or 12 people. It was amazing. It was really, really fun.
It's kind of a place where people play the mathematicians tic-tac-toe.
What's mathematicians tic-tac-toe?
Double tic-tac-toe. Each tic-tac-toe is its own tic-tac-toe grid.
So
have you seen that?
No.
So it's like in recursive kind of?
So there's one giant... The goal is to win a giant tic-tac-toe board, but to claim each of the 9 squares, you need to win its individual tic-tac-toe game.
Okay.
And the twist is that where you place your mark in the small tic-tac-toe grid corresponds to where you can place the move in the big one next.
Oh, that's interesting. So you have to win in a place that gets you the position you want for the big game.
Yes.
I took notes.
Is that the field notes that you got in your gift bag?
No, this is a new big field notes,
Ooh.
which I at first thought, oh, this kind of goes against the way field notes should be.
But then 2014 came around, and it's like Field Notes Plus.
Yeah.
And they just increased the pixel density.
I was like, this is way better. The grid's way smaller.
Steve Jobs
Look.
would never have done that.
No,
No.
never. He's tossing in his grave right now.
Let's see. I played Lords and Ladies, which is a
Okay, so
I wanted to play
Right.
Marrying
so
Mr. Darcy.
weird.
that looked really fun.
Yeah.
It looked really fun. I watched people play, but it looked too long. Like the part of the challenge with this is that you kind of have to be real picky and choosy because you don't actually have that much time. You don't want to play like a 2-hour experience.
Right.
I played Edgar Rice Soiree, which is this is a move controller game, kind of like JS Joust, but instead of holding the controller in your hand, it dangles from the ceiling on a line as if you were Tarzan swinging on vines. And so it's a 4-player game. Each player has their own color. There are probably 20 move controllers, like 5 per person, and you always have to be holding one of your color, like just pressing any of the buttons on the move controller. But what happens is once the game starts, the colors start changing. So it telegraphs that by vibrating the controller, and then the color changes, and you let go of that one when you feel it vibrate and grab for another one of your color. But what ends up happening is they all end up swinging madly because you're letting them go and throwing them away and running. Also, you have 1 second that you can be holding on to nothing. Exactly 1 second. You can release one, grab the next. As long as you grab it in the second, everything's cool.
Wow.
That was ridiculous and had a lot of the same kind of appeal. I don't know anybody who's ever going to play a 20 controller move game in the real world because it's really hard
It's
to
fun,
get.
good for events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killer Queen. Did you have you
I
ever
didn't
heard of
play
Killer
it.
Queen?
Yeah, I have heard of
Okay.
it. Yeah. I didn't get a chance to play anything at XOXO. I am an old lady on the inside,
So
and
you did one for the talks, and then
I went for the talks,
retired
and then there's so much good food in Portland. We
That's the
couldn't-
danger.
I know, and so we would leave the area and go have dinner somewhere, and then I would have a couple drinks at dinner, and then I'd be like, "Oh, I'm pretty tired. It's an early day tomorrow. I guess I'll go to bed."
10:30. It starts at 10:30.
That is like.
I had a baby with me, and she woke up at 7 o'clock. She had no respect for the fact that I stumbled in drunk at 2 a.m. and just was up at 7 o'clock regardless.
I have no illusions that you are not more of a badass than I am in this regard.
I
Believe
just-
me,
I
I
can
know.
just take the suffering better.
I'm not good at that. I wilt like
which
a flower.
quadrant of Portland was it in?
The
It was
southeast.
Was it?
Yeah.
I
It's
still
just
haven't
on the
figured out
border.
places. I still don't know where any of the things were.
Yeah, it was at the Red this year is what they call it, but it's
Yeah.
by Yale Union and Cascades Brewing and Green Dragon and all that stuff. Killer Queen is the best multiplayer experience I've ever had in an arcade. It's 5 versus 5, a team game. One player plays the queen, the other 4 play drones that look like Winnie the Pooh. And your goal, you can win the game. You're fighting against the other team who's on an identical cabinet on the other side of the setup. So literally, it's 2 5-man teams facing off against each other in like a kind of joust. It's kind of the combat is reminiscent of joust, and there are 3 different ways to win. So you end up having to really strategize and communicate well, kind of like you do with like Team Fortress 2 or something like that. I literally, when you had a team that was communicating well and everybody was firing on all sides, I had some of the greatest multiplayer experiences I've had since playing games like Team Fortress and Halo 2
Like
and
how?
stuff like that.
What about it?
Well, if one team wasn't communicating well, the game would be over very quickly. You know, you win by killing the enemy queen 3 times, filling up, collecting resources. You can, it's a 4X game. You know, murder, resources, or other. And other in this case is that somebody rides a snail across the bottom of the map from one side to the other. You know, it's a thing that people do. You can level up your drone guys. You can make them warriors by feeding them nectar and putting them into a metamorphosis chamber. The queen has to keep the metamorphosis chambers on your color so that your guys can use them, but the other guys can't. And it ends up being like a very kind of back and forthy kind of game. We had like an 8 or 10 minute game go one time, which was
so
probably
that's pretty
3
short.
times. Oh yeah, it's
In
an
the grand
arcade
scheme.
game. It's
okay.
You quarter in and play is the theory. It's a new built in 2012, I think, arcade game.
Wow.
I talked to the guys who make that at length, and
They actually build a board for it, or is it just running off a PC?
I'm sure it's running off a PC. They built this gorgeous custom cabinet for it, though. It looks like an old style arcade cabinet, but of course it's using like a 47-inch TV.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and they did some cool perspective tricks with the way the sides angle in, so that it looks much bigger. It looks like the depth of an actual arcade cabinet, even though it's not.
I really regret not having made it over there to see all that stuff.
Well, they have one. There are several machines around the country. So I think there's 2 in Chicago that are publicly playable. If you ever make it to New York and want to weasel in on a game, you can go to the Kickstarter offices. Probably that applies more to you than to those guys, but who knows? And then if you check out their website, then it travels to a bunch of indie game festivals. It's going to be at an arcade expo in Portland next month.
Very cool.
I cannot recommend that highly enough. It was a wonderful like video game experience, and they put cup holders on the console, which is really nice. Yeah, so serious.
Drink a beer.
Stab your
Play some
friend
Killer Queen.
with your queen stinger.
Yeah.
So that's XO, I think. I mean, there was also film and animation. I didn't go to any of that.
Me neither.
It was too much. There was too much board. Board games.
Basically, I wasted $500.
No.
That's a ticket.
That's a full conference
and they sell out, like,
event
immediately.
tickets.
It sold out in like 30 minutes.
And I paid. I had to pay my own way. My husband got to go on. He went as an AOL representative,
he's
so he got
corporate
his
overlord.
ticket paid for, and his hotel room. So I just,
So you make you get your own hotel room too?
no,
Okay.
no. But I stayed with
damn.
him, so at least I saved money there.
I want to talk about 2 Rooms in a Boom. This was a board in the board game night. They had it's basically you've all played Werewolf, right? I know Norm has.
I haven't.
Okay.
I
Really?
haven't. I know. I'm scared.
Wow.
I'm nervous because I'm a bad liar.
No, that's fine.
And
Just don't lie.
I'm very competitive.
If you don't lie and act like you're lying, it's just as good as being a good liar.
Okay.
2 Rooms in a Boom is like Werewolf in that there are 2 teams. There's a werewolf team and there's a human team. In this case, it's a red team and a blue team. The blue team's goal is to keep the president alive. You keep the president alive by keeping away from the bomber. The red team's goal is to end with the bomber in the same room as the president. The way the game works is you split the group of people playing separate from their red or blue affiliation into 2 physical rooms. I mean, they don't have to be real rooms. They can be across a room from each other. But people in one room aren't allowed to communicate directly with people in another room. And you have to first suss out who in your room is on your team versus the other team, then make an attempt to take control of your room.
How do you figure that out? By having conversations with them?
First you have conversations, and then they give you a card. The card has a specific role. So like in Werewolf, you'll have some people will be spies, and they have special powers or special requirements that they have to do to succeed or fail. And you can show just the color part of your card. Or then if you want to be friendly with everyone, super friendly, you can show them your entire card. So they know everything about you at that point. So there is a way to like establish a strong relationship where I know that you are the president on our team, and
you're not lying.
And I'm not, and there's no way for you to lie. Okay. Now, there are roles, like the spy role, when you play with that, has a blue card, but the blue card spy is actually the red spy. So when you show the whole card, it says red spy, not blue spy.
Gotcha.
You have rounds. At the end of each round, you have to pass a certain number of people back and forth between the rooms. So you exchange hostages with the other room. Wow. So then it ends up being first a game about finding out what's happening in your room, then sending trustworthy people, but not necessarily people, then collecting information from the other room without losing your team's grip on your room. So you vote to determine who the leader is in your room. If you end up with too many people on the other team, then you'll lose the ability to control that room and determine which hostages get sent over. And at the end of the game, basically, it ends up being, you have to make one final decision about who you're going to send over. You can only send one person. So you have to try to keep your president away from their bomber. And it ends up being really intense. And it's only like 15 minutes.
Oh, that's nice.
Because it's like 3 5-minute rounds or something like that.
Very cool.
Kind of game where the first time you play, it takes a while, everyone to figure it out. And once you're done, I suppose everyone wants to play immediately again. And you get
Once
3
you
games
get it,
in
you
an
get it.
hour, and then everyone drinks.
So I was doing something else, and one of the Idle Thumbs guys came over and was like, hey, you got to come play this game. And then that was what I did for like 3.5 hours probably. So just playing more of that game. And it's nice because it works with like 30 people. You can have massive numbers of people, and it's still
Good
the
way
game
to
still
meet people
works.
too at an event like that.
And instantly go from meeting them to distrusting them. Okay, so that's XO. Unless there's anything else, Veronica, you want to hit before we move on?
No, but if I go again next year, I'm definitely going to make an effort to get out of the hotel room a little bit more.
Go to the night stuff. Skip
Do
the
the
day stuff.
Skip the day stuff. Yeah,
There's gonna be videos of that.
that's true.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I should have
okay.
slept in late and gone to the night
it's
stuff.
okay.
Oh well,
It's okay.
next year.
Any food recommendations for Portland?
Oh man.
What was the high point?
Oh gosh. Oh, let me check my check-ins. That'll talk amongst yourselves.
Wow. From
There's a really great place on Burnside. Burnside is the street that splits the north and south parts of Portland, and East Burnside, right next to the one of the concert venues, the lodge there. It's a really great place. Oh God, what's it called?
you should check your
It's small.
check-ins.
I should check my check-ins.
Yeah, no, this is why check-ins are helpful because my brain can't contain all this information anymore.
I just bookmark it in Yelp if I like it.
That's smart too.
Yeah. It's the same
So you actually, Will, I believe, were one of the people that recommended Cascade Brewing Barrel House.
thing. Yeah.
And it was awesome. I had never really had a lot of experience with sour beers before. And they give you, for $2 each, you get these tiny, tiny little beers. And you can just try as many as you want for $2 each. And it was really refreshing, especially on a super hot day.
It was
having a nice sour
95
beer.
degrees that day,
It
I
was
think, right?
unbelievable.
Is that the place that's
Yeah.
really narrow? You walk in.
Yeah,
and
it's got like an outdoor patio
Yeah.
on the
Oh,
side
I've
in the
been there,
front,
yeah.
and then
It's
there's like a little indoor
It's like
but
Southeast
outdoor
9th
area.
and 9th and something.
It's a long bar, and then
Yeah.
yes, I've been there. Sour beers. Yes,
Pizza
fantastic.
wise, I had really good pizza at Sizzle Pie,
Sizzle Pie's good.
which has a couple locations, and really excellent. They have vegan options too if you're vegan and still want that pizza hit.
Okay.
I went to Le Bistro Montage,
Okay.
which was like a Creole style restaurant, and it was not healthy. It was like the opposite of healthy, but it was amazing mac and cheese and hush puppies and popcorn shrimp and linguine with clams or with all sorts of different fillings inside. I'm so hungry right now too. Like my mouth is actually salivating just talking about this place. So we ate a lot of food there, and it was super, super good. Let's see. We went to Mucca Osteria, which was an Italian place,
Okay.
kind of near the hotel that we stayed at. We just stayed at the Marriott in the city center. Really, really good Italian food. So I would definitely recommend that. Let's see. We went to, what was that other one I went to?
The Vietnamese place?
Oh, Pok Pok.
Yeah, that sounded pretty good.
Pok Pok was great, and they had a little cart at XO also.
Did you try the drinking vinegar?
Yes.
Yes.
Also really refreshing.
An amazing experience.
Yeah.
So it's like vinegar and club soda, and it's tart,
Like a
and
fruit, like some
fruity.
kind of fruit juice as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, I had the peach one.
I had the Thai basil, and it was really good.
That sounds awesome. And then we went to Tasty in Adler, and that place was fantastic. It was all mostly shareable small plates. And what did I have that was really, really good there? They had this, oh gosh, I can't remember. But they had a lot of good stuff. It was a little more high end, but it was great.
We had, I love Portland eating because it's kind of like chill. For the most part, everything's like jeans and a t-shirt friendly, and you can kind of just walk in and see what's going on. We went for brunch to Cafe Bijou, because it was across the street from the hotel. And
Is that the place we went that one time?
we
with
went
Blue
with
Sign.
We went there. It's down the street from Voodoo Donuts.
It's on the Cafe Bijou, Blue
Yeah.
Sign, white text, and they have the omelets with oysters.
Yes.
Oyster omelets.
Yes.
Like a
Fantastic.
Hangtown fry, kind of?
It's not.
Really?
It's not an East Coast. It's. I wouldn't. You're
Okay.
talking about. You're using words that I recognize from the East Coast.
Oh, well, if you
Or
go
no?
to Just For You, they have a Hangtown fry.
What is a Hangtown
It's
fry?
like it's an omelet with oysters in it and
Oh.
other stuff.
So the thing I had that was the best thing I ate all weekend, probably high bar, was a cornmeal pancake. Well, 2 cornmeal pancakes with fried chicken on top. So a little riff on chicken and waffles, but the pancake was very savory. They put honey butter on it, and then spread like roasted red pepper jam. So it was like a savory version of chicken and waffles, and a little bit of hot sauce on the chicken. Really, really good.
At Cafe Bijou.
At Cafe Bijou.
It's close to Mother's, which everyone goes
Yes.
to, and if people
I went to Mother's.
if you Yelp, like Mother's is the brunch place to go, especially on Sundays. But Cafe Bijou, which is only a block and a half away, I would say just as good.
You should have made that a tip.
They also have on Friday and Saturday nights, they also do live jazz. They're only open for dinner 2 nights a week, and it's when they have the band. So we went in there one night, again, across the street from the hotel, so that makes decisions easier. We went in there for an early dinner and discovered that my daughter loves jazz.
That was the place you told me about.
Yes.
And everyone was freaking out because she was so cute.
She completely went bonkers. So yeah,
that's great.
So
Hangtown Fry, for those who are curious, was made famous during the California Gold Rush. So it is a West Coast dish item, and it usually includes bacon and oysters fried together with eggs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never had that before. I'll have to go find it.
So just for you, we'll do it. So if you're curious, they make a good one.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Technology.
iPhone orders went live on Thursday night while I was at XO. So I went back and tried to order an iPhone on hotel internet, which was awesome.
Ryan, my husband, was successful. He got through.
Gave up
Through which
on
system?
on Apple and went to Verizon.
So they're like previously you could do it on Apple.com, and this is like the stupidest thing talking about pre-ordering a phone.
Says Android user Norman Chan.
Well, okay, the Moto X also went on pre-order yesterday, and people were having problems with that. But anyway, you can go buy it on. Some people buy it on their tablets.
Don't you have a phone that you had to get an invitation in order to order?
Yes,
the hipster phone.
Not worth really talking about.
It's really elite, Norm.
I know.
Really.
Well, it's also
you must be
the company practices. I'm not going to promote them.
You must be a cool guy. Are you a cool guy? Cool guy, Moto X.
Moto X is pretty cool.
Moto X is pretty cool.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm
not saying it's not cool. I'm just saying it's cool.
I'd rather have a bamboo back than a glass back.
The deal used to be that when you tried to pre-order an iPhone, it was easier to do it through the Apple Store app rather than do it on the website. For some reason, probably different servers, I would imagine.
API versus web.
API is usually stands up a lot better to the brunt of things.
Yeah. Didn't work this time though.
No, I didn't try because my contract isn't up for renewal until the 21st. So I'm giving it. Ryan was like, "You can order."
That's 4 days from now.
I know, so I'm going to do it in 4 days.
Then you're going to get your phone in like November or something.
I don't care.
At that point, why bother?
Yeah,
might as well wait till next year.
Wait for the 6 Plus
I'm not
S.
made of money.
Wait for the 6 Plus S. It's all over.
It's not. No.
It's gonna.
Or you can wait in line.
Oh yeah.
They do take new shipments every morning.
We're picking ours up in Honolulu. So he's picking his up in Honolulu.
Awesome.
And so when I go with him to pick up his phone that has been shipped to Honolulu, I will see if they have any models in stock. And if they do, it will be time for me to do that.
It's closer to China, so there's a pretty good chance.
Maybe
the plane stops there.
Yeah.
They unload, and then whatever's left goes on.
It's a boat.
Yeah.
No, it's a plane, dude.
So our thing is we get new phones every anniversary.
Okay.
Because the iPhone 4 launched when we got married. The iPhone 5 launched last year for our first anniversary. And so our last 2 phones we actually have had delivered to our wedding venue where we also had our first anniversary.
Wow.
And so this year now, our anniversary we're having in Hawaii. And so we're getting it there.
Okay.
But so that's why I was married on the 22nd. And so my contract renewal is on the 21st. So I have to wait. So the earlier they release them, the tougher it makes for me.
I know you better hope for some Novembers or Octobers at least coming forward.
No, I just want the 22nd or the 21st every year.
Fair enough.
Just stick to it, Apple.
Have that land on a Friday. As long as that's the Friday.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
They sold 4 million units in 24 hours, but I don't think they broke out whether it was the ratio of 6 Pluses to 6s.
And they said that was the most. And I think that's actually better than last year because when they announced the record-breaking numbers last year, that included all the new phones, which was the 5S and the 5C, which
all
technically
the color versions.
That's a lower-end phone. And this one, they're talking about just 6s, which are 2 high-end phones. Yeah. So releasing 2 new SKUs, I think, helped them a lot this year.
Well, and the 6, the new design usually is much more in demand than the new hardware. Yes. Like if you look at the 5S last year, I went to Best Buy in the morning and just bought one.
So the reviews are out for both iOS 8 and iPhone 6s.
And they're good.
And for people who have pre-ordered theirs, it's like this is how you keep yourself sane before waiting for the FedEx truck. There are a couple like revelations that have come out about usage that weren't in the demos or any of the hands-on sections, such as like how reachability works, like how far it drops down.
How does reachability work, Norm?
So when you double tap the home button, it drops down. It drops down. And when the actual physical screen, the image that's rendered on the screen, your window, drops down and it's black behind it, and it drops down further on the iPhone 6 Plus, and so they've calculated approximately where they think your thumb can reach high above.
When you say double tap, you don't mean double press. That task manager app switching thing remains the same way it always has been. Mm-hmm. It's just tapping the sensor.
The home button.
Yeah, I was curious about that.
I guess since Earlier this week, people also realized that the resolution, the way the scaling works, that was a big question for the iPhone 6 Plus, because on the iPhone 6, we're talking about a 4.7-inch screen. They kept the same pixel density and just increased the screen size and higher resolution. With the iPhone 6 Plus, it's actually a different pixel density, 401, not quite the triple the point pixel density.
The triple would have required a slightly higher resolution than they shipped in the screen.
Right. But what they're doing is they're rendering at that triple resolution and then scaling down. So they're actually using all the horsepower of that new chip, but using fewer pixels on the screen, so it doesn't require stronger backlight. And the manufacturing, they can make more of those screens.
And I think Gruber spent the most time talking about this because he's really obsessed with the scaling stuff. Said he didn't see any fuzziness or bad news from the scaling on the 6 Plus, but he did notice a little bit of like frame rate hitching on a couple of the animations that do a lot of vertical motion, like the zoom into Safari, tab switching, and stuff like that.
It's pretty high resolution when we were talking about that 6 Plus was actually running around. When you take screenshots, it is at that full 3 pixel point pixel. I think it's 2208 by 14 something.
It's almost like my desktop 30-inch monitor. Like it's an enormous resolution,
which is ridiculous. And then there's also a weird
why
zoom
ridiculous,
mode,
Norm? Sorry,
because we're talking about that's ridiculous to render. It's power consumption. GPU wise, it's ridiculous that you need that on when some phones are at 720p, which I think is okay. There's also a weird display scaling feature that
it's old
Apple
person
didn't
mode.
talk about. It is actually old person mode.
Yeah.
What it does is it renders the phone on the software side just like it would the iPhone 5, and then just scales that up. So everything is bigger as opposed to being sharper. The text is actually physically it's a bigger, higher DPI.
I think that's a good thing. I think that's a really good thing.
When people look at bigger phones, when some people are like, if the reason to get the bigger phone for someone is because they don't like squinting at text, and you think that naturally a bigger phone, just like buying a bigger 1080p TV, means the images are going to be just scaled bigger, they should be made aware of this feature because they might like it more than having 6 rows of icons in the home screen.
So what changes? You just lose some more. You lose one column and one row of icons.
Everything looks like the iPhone 5 scaled up.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so there's going to be more
69.
icons on the screen now.
Yes, in the native way.
Yeah. What do you think the breakdown is between 6 and 6 Plus in terms of sales? Is there any information on that? Like what is being bought more?
It seems like there's somebody who did an availability chart who looked at what the ship times were on the different phones across all of the international stores, and it seemed like the 6 is shipping much sooner than the 6 Plus. So presumably that means either. I mean, I think all we can tell from that is maybe demand for the 6 Plus outstripped what they expected demand for 6 Plus to be.
Or it could have been more constrained supply.
Right.
With that screen and that processor. I also think their margins are probably lower. I know they're charging $100 more, but it's probably a little more expensive. Oh, maybe it's
not probably not that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it's. I mean, they're using their own screen, so it's not like they're getting commodity deals on the screens. But it's still not like it's some crazy future technology screen. It's just a 1080p screen.
So what did you end up going with?
Well, Gina and I are both up, so she got a 6 and I got a 6 Plus because we want to have one of each for the site. And then if I don't like the 6 Plus, or if she doesn't like the 6 Plus, then we have 30 days to take it back and tie it to a brick and throw it through the Verizon store window.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with the 6. I think.
I'm kind of like, just on a conceptual level, I can't remember. I think Harry McCracken wrote about the 6 Plus and said, look, this is actually, no, it was Neely on The Verge, said, like, echoed what I've been feeling is that a 6, that size device, I might use that instead of an iPad, and that might be the only iOS device I'm toting around all the time.
I almost, I have an iPad Mini, and I frankly don't use it all that often, even now. So I like the smaller form factor, just for day-to-day type stuff. I use the iPad Mini at home for recipes, really, almost exclusively. It's my kitchen gadget now. And so for me, I don't want to go up too much higher in size because it's not going to fit in my pocket. It's not going to fit in my little clutch purse. And so smaller
the way
in this
you
case
glance
is better.
at the information, the types of information feeds, because information now, and there are long form articles, and that's, I think, better on like an iPad or laptop. But when you're glancing at 140 characters or images, feed-wise, it really is better on a small device.
I just feel like that's how I get a lot of my information
Scrolling
now.
through,
Yeah.
like I do email on the
Yeah.
iPad. I mean, on the iPhone because it's easier to type and all that. I use my iPad for reading, and I use it to play iOS board games because Gina and I play. We'll I mean, it's super lame, but we'll like go to bed and lay in bed and play Waterdeep or something on the
That's
iPad.
cute. That's not lame. That's
We're
awesome.
just both sitting there with the blue glow of light, not talking to each other. And that's the big question for me is, is the way iOS renders stuff now going to remove the distinction between iOS and iPhone apps, and we'll just have different, so it's analogous with the way Android has worked for the last X number of years, or will there still be a distinction between the iPad versions and the iPhone versions? I mean, I guess we'll wait and see.
I think the reason to have iPad mini or an iPad as separate from a phone is just battery life.
That's true.
If your phone is a thing that you don't ever want to drain, and the iPad mini is just a bigger battery, like, I can afford to use this as my, I'm not going to receive text on it, or you get iMessages or whatever, but you can watch video on it and not feel guilty about killing that battery life for the day.
The prisoner's dilemma of the airplane ride.
I am never buying another Mophie case.
Really?
I'm over it. It is just... There's too many different iPhone shapes. They change too frequently, and I keep spending.
And they're expensive.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get a little brick, a little battery brick.
The brick is the way to go.
I know.
The brick has always been the way to go.
Well, I learned that lesson. It's fine.
You had 2 good
feel like
years.
a dumb dummy. No, I bought it like 6 months ago. I'm a dumb, stupid.
Oh, that's not.
dummy
Well,
head.
you can probably get a
needed it
female
for
Thunderbolt
conferences.
to a male Thunderbolt, and you can just use that instead of the case. Just dangle it out there.
Just dangle it out there.
Yeah, the dangling Mophie.
Jeez.
It's my iOS 8 is out now. It came out yesterday morning for you guys, this morning for us. And as I think when you got here, Veronica, I had just looked at my phone and the App Store lit up with, "Hey, you have 35 new apps to update." And I was like, "Oh, that's
So does that
unusual."
mean it's where do I get the update from? It
You
didn't pop
go
up for me. Oh,
to
settings.
settings
right.
general, whatever.
It's been a while.
It's in there. Everybody's rolling out their iOS 8 compatible versions. Apple doesn't let them do things that use the new iOS 8 APIs until it's publicly available. So that means 1Password now has an iOS extension for Safari. So you can do your 1Password passwords inside Safari. This might get me to use Safari on the phone. I generally... I put Chrome at the bottom of the screen and then use Safari whenever anything's hinky.
I don't have enough storage space.
Oh,
I know, it's ridiculous. How much does it need? Say you need on the
It
phone,
says I need 5.8 gigabytes of storage.
and on the
How much do you have?
iPad, you need
I have
6.5
gigabytes available.
Now that's not what it actually takes, because the download I think is a
know.
gig and a
Yeah.
half, or a little over a gig, and then it just uncompresses and it needs that for its install. But it's ridiculous. You need 5.5 gigs on your iPhone and almost 7 gigs on the iPad to install iOS
what do I
8.
have on here? Jeez.
So if you have an 8 gig iPod Touch or an iPhone,
Upgrading is
you have to plug it into the
impossible.
computer.
Yeah.
See, I always have the betas on my stuff, so I have to you have to plug in to do that anyway on the initial run. And then the updates are just diffs, so they're not that big. But I really like iOS 8. I mean, I've been using it for the last several weeks. I've had the GM for about a week now, and it is it's incremental. They're not changing anything fundamental about the way the OS looks or works, other than things like putting people you recently communicated with and making them more accessible to you
In the double tap.
in the double tap menu. Yeah.
Have you installed on any past iOS devices, like iPad 3s or 4s or anything else?
Yes.
See how performance is?
So I started on my iPhone 5.
I heard 4 was a little wonky.
I can't imagine 4 is going to be
4S,
good.
yeah.
4S was okay. And the iPad Mini, the original one, the non-Retina one, is great. So
That's the iPad 2
That's
hardware.
the iPad 2 hardware. So
And that's fine?
it wasn't. It was not noticeably slow. In fact, to full disclosure, the thing that I've used the most is an iPhone 5S and an iPad Mini Retina. The iPad Mini 2 is what we take for the baby if we're on the airplane and she has a meltdown and we need to play Nemo.
I think that's the one, because from the reviews I've read, iPad 2,
That's the oh shit button we need to eject. So it didn't happen this time.
people with the iPad 2, which Apple no longer sells, not recommended to upgrade to iOS 8. My question was, because iPad Mini first gen has the same hardware as that, and I think a lot of people have the first gen iPad Mini.
Yeah, I mean, it was the new iPad Mini until this time last year.
So I'm really curious. I think that's gonna be a wait and see. I would not recommend people with the first gen iPad Mini upgrade now.
I mean, it has a little higher clock speed than the iPhone 4, so I would, like I said, it wasn't I did not notice it being bad. I have not spent as much time with it as I have with the other stuff. One thing I did notice that I think is now fixed is that the Kindle app always crashed once before it worked. And I think they've already updated that, so it doesn't do that anymore.
I just
so
had
I was pretty
Audible
excited
just
about
crashed.
that. Nope, still crashed. It just did it again.
Over and over. What's up, Amazon? Fix your crap.
The hotspot, the personal hotspot stuff, if you have an iPhone, an iPad, or an iPhone and a Mac, is magical. Like when you go someplace that you don't have a known Wi-Fi access point, you pull down your list of Wi-Fi access points, and it says, "Hey, your phone's here. We can just connect if you want." That's cool.
And
right?
we did the AirDrop stuff
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah, we
earlier,
AirDropped.
too.
You got a picture of Zoidberg.
I did.
That
From
worked.
phone to laptop.
Phone to phone.
Phone to phone.
Phone to phone and laptop to phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the second one was
fir-
laptop to phone?
No, the Zoidberg was from the laptop.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great.
Like just in general, it feels like there's more features and stuff that have come in with this version with the last version.
The AirDrop thing is, I think, really important because getting media off of iPhone has always been a real pain. Like unless you're plugging in directly, because if you camera roll, you can drag and drop wirelessly. Emailing,
even camera roll is sometimes hinky.
yeah, emailing is terrible. Emailing your photos because they always resize it. Videos, they compress it, do the same thing. I've taken to uploading to Dropbox. But yeah, having a direct connection.
There's still weird holes though. Like you can't put ringtones on an iPhone without either jumping through tons of hoops or connecting to iTunes and then
Downloading them from iTunes.
Yeah. But if you make your own, like I have my they're coming for you, Veronica.
I know.
Yeah, I have my ringtone that I like that is not on the iTunes store. So I pay 99 cents for the hassle.
Yeah, there was a tiny little app. What was it called? Ringtone something.
Those go away often though.
Yeah, they stop working.
Yeah.
But this one worked for a long time. I think I had gotten it from like Amoeba or something, Amoeba software.
Okay.
But it was free.
Oh, that's
and
good.
it worked great. And I haven't tried it in a long time though, so who knows?
For a long time, you could go through GarageBand and import them that way. And probably now that iOS 8 is out, you'll be able to do that again. But anyway, if you have a 5 or 5S, I would not hesitate to update. And if you have an iPad Air or 4, Gina's iPad, third generation iPad is just fine. She hasn't complained at all about performance. So
Cool.
Of course, she doesn't play games. She's just reading and playing board games. What do you think about $10,000 Apple Watches? We're almost done with Apple news, I promise. This is the last one.
So what is this? I don't know about this.
When Apple announced Apple Watch,
Yeah.
which I'm also curious to hear what your thoughts of Apple Watch are. We have strong opinions about Apple Watch. There are a couple of things that were uncertain. One, battery life.
Right.
Clearly is the big thing, and the reports have come out and have said that maybe Apple right now doesn't know what the battery life is, or at least hasn't locked down what their expectations are.
Right.
Obviously, they need to at least be one a day, but it's not going to be a full week's worth of battery life. The fact that they showed the charger and talked about, nightly charging, it was a phrase they use, implies that it's something that you're going to have to charge every night.
You know,
to
for
use
me, that's
regularly.
not. I can go either way with that because, like, something like the Fitbit, which obviously is not as much of a power hog. I'm used to not having to charge that more than once a month, maybe. But then I charge my phone
Is that the
every
Flex?
night. I have the one.
Okay.
But then something like your phone or your other devices, I'm so used to plugging those in at night. I don't know if it would really be that big of an issue for me.
Right. So in your mind, you're thinking it as if it is like another
Daily
another
use
daily
gadget,
electronic device. And so the big thing that's leading up to the reason we're talking about $10,000 watches is now there's an assumption that Apple may charge a lot of money for these standard like stainless steel edition of the Apple Watch.
The edition.
Well, edition
and
the stainless steel one.
Yes.
So they said $350 for the base, starting at $350, which we assume is the sport
It's
edition.
gonna be covered in diamonds. Like, how do you get to $10,000?
Well,
Full solid gold case.
Yeah, so $350 for the base.
Rolex prices are.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's so $350 for aluminum, and the sport edition. The stainless steel. The assumption that might be $1,000 for that one.
I would be shocked if that's $1,000.
Well,
I would think it's 500. I think you'd have to get into one of the cool bands to get to $1,000.
Yeah.
The metallurgy people, or the people that actually the watch people, being polled about the solid gold watch because the edition, which is a silly name.
Well, they
that's
couldn't
actually
call
it's not plated.
Right. It
It's
is
solid.
gold
Solid.
brace,
It's a
gold
gold-
bracelet.
And
gold
based on the
watch.
size of a 42 millimeter watch, the amount of gold used is comparable to like a Rolex, where just the materials is $5,000 to $6,000. And those watches, if you're talking about selling in direct competition to a Rolex, Rolexes are $30,000. So
well, I mean, Rolexes start gold Rolexes. I mean, stainless Rolexes
This is an
started.
area I know nothing about. So this is
I know nothing about that either. But that just boggles the mind that people are thinking that Apple could sell a watch for $10,000.
But you look at like Omega's, like Omega Speedmaster is $4 or $5 depending on which one you get. If you get the stainless version, but it's also not presumably commodity components inside. It's something that's been assembled in relatively small quantities,
and brand and the prestige of it,
I
which
think
Apple
it's difficult.
wants to sell.
I think it will be difficult for Apple to sell a stainless watch that is a relatively prolific, inexpensive material for more than $500.
I was wondering, I mean, this would never happen because Apple does everything itself, but being able to have, just basically the guts of the watch and giving that to watch manufacturers so they could create their own designs with that, with the interoperability of iOS would be fantastic.
They'd
never do that.
That's the question. The question is how, if they're going to get into a price range that is competing with the watch that you buy and then plan to give to your kids and becomes a family heirloom, which is most people who are buying a $20,000 watch, I have to imagine
anticipate that
it's not going to be something you just leave on the nightstand at the Hilton.
Right.
They have to have some sort of an answer to how does this thing last more than 2 years? Like, is it a remote terminal like the car play stuff is? It's not. It doesn't seem like.
It's not. It's a full computer on the inside. And that goes to the question of what you think of this device as. If you think of it like an iPhone or anything you plug every night, I think it's reasonable that you charge that once.
Every 2
and
years,
upgrade
3 years.
If it's being positioned and priced at the mindset of a heirloom, and that's got to last, not only battery life lasts for a long time, but also functionally. And so maybe one hypothesis was you can upgrade, you can bring the watch in and trade in
Tesla style,
trade in the guts every couple of years. The gold's still worth what the gold
presumably
is worth.
That's almost the only way I can see that making any sense, because I mean, if you are buying it with the heirloom idea in mind, which I'm not sure how many people are going to actually do that, you can't have a device that's going to be obsolete in 2 years.
Well,
or Apple's changing the whole paradigm of things. As opposed to looking at it as a technology product, they're changing the paradigm of what you're paying for objects in the real world. When you buy a car, when you buy a nice clock in your house, when you buy
do you have a
furniture,
clock in your house?
Yeah, I have a clock.
A nice clock?
I don't have a nice clock. I mean, I'm not in the market for that. But they're putting technology in things that normally didn't have electronics technology in them. And that expectation is now that because everything has electronics, your thermostat. Like, is your Nest going to be something which you paid, $250 for?
My Nest isn't a family heirloom.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not.
Going to pass it down.
And I'm not talking about family heirlooms, but like things that appliances and outside of consumer.
But all of those wear down over time.
Yeah.
A thermostat. Well, maybe you just leave the thermostat up because its only function is to control the temperature. It doesn't have all the added benefits of something like the Nest.
It also knows when I'm home.
Well, yours does.
Yeah.
But a regular old standard came in your apartment you rented for the past 10 years kind of thermostat isn't a smart thermostat. It's just a thermostat. And so you don't think about replacing it that often. But something that's like the Nest or something like the other devices out there right now, you're thinking, oh, it's going to have new features. It's going to be constantly improving. Like, yeah, it's $250 or whatever, but 5 years from now when there's a new device, it'll be worth that to replace.
Or you have to think about software updates.
Yeah.
Something you never think about. And so we're living in this world where things that we normally didn't have to maintain upkeep-wise in terms of technology and software, we're just going to have to consider that.
I think there's going to be a user revolt against the idea of upgrading things like your thermostat and your watch every 2 to 5 years.
Well,
5
maybe
years?
maybe not physically update, but at least on the software side, that's how you ease into it.
You just bought your house a few years ago. You're on your first washer and dryer and refrigerator. When I was a child, the washer and dryer that my parents had was one that they received as a wedding gift in 1969. It lasted for 25 years.
Okay.
I don't see anyone keeping.
But that's a different device.
There's a plan. People are manufacturing those kinds of big ticket household purchases. Companies are manufacturing those kinds of big ticket household purchases with forced obsolescence in mind. Either
you
because
think so?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it makes sense for them monetarily, but
my refrigerator broke 2 months ago, and it's a 5-year-old refrigerator. The cost of the part from the manufacturer to fix the broken refrigerator was $200 less than the cost of a new refrigerator that was comparable. That is insane.
Well, the revolt's going to happen when the materials and the scarcity in the rarity of the rare materials.
We're fine on that stuff for a pretty long time, except for oil.
Batteries and
lithium and all that stuff. There's plenty of that. It's just hard. It's just more.
It's getting more expensive.
The price of that stuff will go up.
It's just going to get more expensive, and I think that's where the consumer revolt's going to come from.
I think well, anyway, I'm not going to say what I think the consumer revolt's going to come from. So what's your upper limit on Apple Watch edition, Norm?
I think $10,000 is what they're going to sell it for.
If it's a gold wristband.
Yeah, gold wristband.
Because I mean
that's going to be a high, and you know what? In the Rolex marketplace, where they are the dominant watch seller, and
Rolex and Omega, and
the prestige item, and there are a ton of fakes out there. Apple Watch is not something that people are going to go fake. Like, you're not going to see the dude.
It's going to be the new Tesla rolling down the street. It's
right,
like
we're not going to see fake like Louis Vuitton bags.
You won't see a Romex.
No, we're not going to see the Apple. The Apple.
The Adpal.
Yeah, Adpal watch.
It's just a D instead of a P.
You will see them.
Yeah,
they will exist in the world.
Oh yeah,
but you'll be able to spot it.
You have to use it with your iPhone.
I wonder
iPhone.
If the bootleggers and the people who make the fake prestige bracelets and watches are working on
in progress right now.
Oh, I want to get one of those.
They're probably on sale. You can probably get them.
You probably get an
you just have to go to some shady part of the world.
You got to go to the farthest corners of Shenzhen's electronics markets.
I was exactly going to say that. Yeah,
someplace William Gibson's been. Have
you been to the markets?
Kyle from iFixit keeps threatening to make us come.
You should go.
I would love to go with them.
I've been to Shenzhen. We did not go to the market, but I went to a similar market in Hong Kong.
Some of those places, when they do the bootleg stuff, they just take extra material, like they steal from the actual factories.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was some incredible, like, not even in the electronics market, but just in the, back alley, like, rip-off aisles. I was like, wow, that is impressive. That really looks like, a Marc Jacobs whatever, or a purse, or things that I recognized.
Or Android phones in iPhone 5S looking shells that run a version of Android that has an iPhone skin on it. I mean, it's just bananas.
There's also this really cool blog post by a friend of Bunny Huang, the guy who invented the Chumby, because he's like the guy in Shenzhen. And in those markets, like, a lot of those are recycled parts, like where old cell phones get taken apart and some of the chips get.
You can see them.
You buy them by the bin.
Yeah, and they're breaking apart phones and taking stuff out, and it's incredible.
And apparently, people from the factories, I'm not sure if this is true or not, sometimes when they're running low at a certain component or material chip, they run to the market and say, I want to buy by the bin, by the pound. Here, I need to buy 100 pounds of that chip because we're low for this today's production order. And they're using old parts in new electronics.
I'm almost glad they're doing that instead of ending up in Africa, like in these massive.
These photos are horrible.
It's awful. It's horrible.
The phone dumps in Africa,
where
children are picking apart.
They walk around with magnets on the end of strings, like pulling up tiny pieces of copper and metal, and it's a nightmare. It's an ecological and
that's where the revolution's going to come from.
Yeah.
And so who's paying $500 for the next phone?
I always give my phones always go to my Luddite friends who aren't ready to upgrade. They always pass me down, hand me down phones.
Sorry guys, we're not going to have any iPhone 6 or 6 Plus coverage on the phone because I'm taking a moral stand this year.
Or no, you can just donate the same amount you would to charity. I'm not on the phone.
That's
offset.
That's a Whale Rock Industries issue. How many Android phones have you bought this year, Norm?
I bought 3.
Yeah.
It's a lot
Still
of
have all of them.
phones.
Okay, that's good. Just put it in the groundwater. No. We're joined today by Bodega. Yes. Also, you keep looking back behind us. It's not somebody laying back there doing something weird or unfortunate.
Well, it is somebody back there laying there doing weird things.
It's
just a dog.
Occasionally, I just see a flicker of tail go.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. Microsoft bought Minecraft.
The biggest piece of technology news this week.
By far, yeah. That was last week before was iPhones. Yeah.
$2.5 billion.
60% of Star Wars.
Wow.
I think that they got a bargain.
Do you?
Microsoft says they think they'll be able to repay that by 2015. I don't doubt that at all.
There was an interesting article about that where that does not necessarily mean what it sounds like it means.
Right.
Yeah. But I am fascinated by this, and I'm really hopeful that they continue to, and they said they will continue to allow Minecraft to come out on multiple platforms, including,
iOS, Android, PlayStation, Xbox, PC.
The great thing about Minecraft is the vast majority of its players. Now, our perspective is different because we know people who make games and review games, but the vast majority of the 50 million people who've bought Minecraft do not care who owns Minecraft, who made Minecraft, who know who Notch is. They just like playing Minecraft. And as long as they'll be able to continue playing Minecraft and buying Minecraft merchandise, they'll be happy.
So I think that is untrue. I retweeted something that Tycho from Penny Arcade tweeted this morning, where he said, I dropped my kid off to school today, and the kids in the playground are all worried that Microsoft's going to destroy Minecraft.
I'm impressed that they knew what Microsoft was.
Well, they're in Seattle, or outside Seattle, which gives them a little more advantage. However, I think that the kids are aware of Microsoft and that Microsoft is lame.
Now Minecraft
are
is
these
lame.
the same kids that do they not like Xbox?
I don't think kids like Xbox. I think they play.
I bet they. What? Are you laughing at me? Do they not like Xbox?
No, I think they love Xbox. I just like the idea that they associate Xbox with a cooler Microsoft.
Right.
But when the Business Week reports that Minecraft was bought by Microsoft, then that's the uncool Microsoft. No, they don't care.
Think about Ballmer. Think about Jay Allard.
No, they
think
don't.
About Ballmer again.
They love
about Jay
Xbox.
Allard.
The fact that they think that Xbox is now tied to Minecraft, I think is exciting.
So Microsoft is going to make money on this how?
They're going to sell more Minecraft, and they're going to exploit the hell out of it.
And they're going to sell microtransaction content.
Yeah, it'll have to be
skin
something
packs
like that.
and tile packs and stuff like that. And then also it drives Xbox Live subscriptions.
Yeah,
presumably.
So there's a lot of questions that need answering for sure.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if at some point in the future Microsoft also has a massive compute cloud. There's no reason they couldn't use that to let you host Minecraft instances for a nominal monthly fee so that your friends can come play in your world without you having to leave your Xbox on all the time.
That's cool.
Like, I would totally pay a couple bucks a month for that.
So I need to be better at Minecraft first.
It's a first giant purchase. Satya Nadella, the new CEO of Microsoft, who people for a while were afraid was going to dump the Xbox division. This is a commitment to gaming. And as a first giant purchase, like which business does this fuel? Does this fuel Windows Phone, or Xbox?
Both.
Does it fuel everything? How does it? I'm curious. How does it benefit Windows?
It's the biggest game on Windows. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make people
buy.
Well, they'll put it in the Windows store.
Those machines.
It could be the first million selling Metro app.
Wow, what if it's the new pinball? Space Pinball, Minecraft built into every copy
for free
of Windows 9.
They might give you a taste. Here, have the first.
It's the new Weezer video.
Oh man, it could be just like
gosh,
Buddy Holly.
I totally remember that. Oh my god, that's funny.
Notch the new Brian Eno.
Well, no, he's not.
Well, no, he's leaving.
Out.
Yeah,
he's out.
Yeah. So at the same time, this wasn't a huge surprise. Like he's always There's a little bit of hypocrisy because he gave the Oculus guys such an enormous amount of shit about it publicly.
Well, you know what?
About the Facebook acquisition.
When Notch is awesome, and I think he's a really nice guy, and yet he's an opinionated guy, and he has opinions, and he has opinions on the internet, and so do most of us as geeks and as gamers, and sometimes those opinions are contradictory,
and
they
never
become
been shy.
Contradictory. And so, yeah, he had a feeling. He said it out loud. I don't blame him, And then this opportunity came along, and it was his chance to
get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out. And be able to continue to work on projects that he's excited about and not feel like he has to be the business guy in charge of this behemoth project that has totally grown beyond anyone's wildest expectations. And so now he can go back to being a game creator, a developer, a nerd's nerd, and really focus on the stuff he's passionate about and not have to worry like someone else is handling the business. He's got his money, he can go live his life, and what more could you ask for?
I don't think he's going to stop making games.
No, he's not.
And
he hasn't stopped making
exactly,
games.
And all the opinions that he had, him being vocal, he never was vocal with the flag waving. I'm the dude who created Minecraft, so here's why you should listen to me. He was vocal because that's who he is, and now he can do that without having the. By the way, I'm the Minecraft guy, so this is why you should listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and he has arguably the best-selling indie game of all time, right? And it's high on the list of all-time game sales. It's right up there with like Mario Kart and Super Mario World and stuff like that. He hasn't worked on that game in at least 2 years from our understanding.
He's working on like scrolls and the other stuff they've got.
Building other. He was. Yeah, I mean, we've talked to folks from Mojang who were like, yeah, he kind of does stuff, and sometimes it's good, sometimes not so much. But like he it seems like he had a really realistic sense of his chance of capturing that kind of lightning that Minecraft caught again, and he's just going to go make games that he enjoys, I think he even
said if something becomes that popular again, he'll just abandon that and move on to the next thing.
Right. I mean, I hope that he has built a Scrooge McDuck vault somewhere, and he's from Denmark or something, right? Germany.
No, they're in Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah,
that's right.
Sweden.
Mojang.
Yeah, I hope he builds a giant Scrooge McDuck-like vault and is swimming in gold coins up in the Great North.
Good for him.
I mean, all for it. All power to him.
Living the dream.
I don't know about that, but you know.
Oh, what are you talking about? That is totally living the dream. He's got more money than he could ever possibly need in his life, and he's going to make games that he cares about.
That's true.
Spend all his time doing whatever.
Do what you want to do.
And
yes, you've already sworn it like 3 or 4
well,
times.
I didn't say the F word.
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
Yeah, just like no more than 2 minutes ago.
Oh.
Yeah, and you
it just
always
comes so naturally.
You always ask if we swear on this show.
Do you know how many freaking podcasts I do?
Okay, fair enough.
I never can remember
and
what
you do
is
family-friendly
okay
ones too.
I do.
You know, we're not capable of that. Yeah. We don't have that kind of restraint.
It is FU money. It's Oprah money. It's that sweet Oprah money.
Sweet Oprah money.
On Twitter, someone said, for $2 billion, I would get somebody's nethers tattooed on my forehead. And I was like, man, you could buy a lot of hats for $2 billion.
That's a good point.
Just pull them down real low.
Or a lot of like really trendy haircuts that like bangs, for example.
Like,
look, I could have a dick under here right now.
Like the Gary Oldman. Yeah, that's worth $2 billion. The Gary Oldman cut from Fifth Element. You could make that popular.
A Bieber.
Yeah.
Go
full
Beeb. Go full Beeb.
He doesn't have that haircut anymore there, Veronica. You're out of
Do
your
I look
element.
like a cool guy that knows what's cool with the cool kids these days?
You mean like me?
Yeah.
The Bieber haircut was that was a
the
1 a.m. topic at XO, the Bieber haircut.
We had a lot of talks. Bieber's from the internet, man. He's our peeps. Except for all the...
Throw him back.
He's gotten a little rough in the last few years, but he'll turn around. I have faith. There's a Windows 9 event.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say.
What?
All that stuff.
The Biebs?
All that stuff about Justin Bieber.
Why? What's your beef with the Biebs?
What is my beef with the Biebs? He's a terrible human being. He's a little shit.
He's 17 years old. He has surrounded himself
he's older than that now,
okay,
by the
so
way.
he's like 27, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Grow the fuck up.
He's young enough that... But he never... He
Old
was doomed
enough to
from the
know
beginning.
better.
I feel bad. I feel
Will
bad
sure knows a lot about Bieber.
for child celebrities.
I feel bad for him, but I have also seen other child celebrities rise above it, for example, and
like
not
Lindsay
be
Lohan.
douchebags. She's not a good example. She's not a good example.
Or that girl from Nickelodeon, Amanda something or other.
Amanda Bynes.
Amanda Bynes.
Terrible example as well.
Yeah, there's not that many good ones. Hannah Montana.
Dakota Fanning.
Dakota Fanning.
Dakota Fanning.
Elle Fanning.
All the Fannings.
Dakota Fanning was an adult from
Hermione
age
Granger,
3 on.
Emma.
Oh, Emma Watson. Yeah,
Emma
she's
Watson.
okay. Harry Potter's okay
All the
too.
Harry Potters did okay.
Yeah, except for the ginger.
He's fine.
I can say that.
He's fine.
He's okay.
He didn't do anything bad.
I got beef with him.
Why? Because he's a ginger?
No, I'm pro ginger.
Wait, so what's your beef with him?
He's just not very good. There's a Windows 9 event. Controversial opinions.
Speaking of Microsoft, in San Francisco at the end of this month, September 30th, select journalists.
How did you go from Ron Weasley to speaking of Microsoft?
Because we're talking about Microsoft buying.
Oh, you mean
Minecraft.
before? Okay.
It's right on the list.
I'll
there
allow
was a segue in there somewhere.
We're going to see Windows 9 details on September 30th.
Did they say it was going to be called Windows 9?
No. The invite didn't say it all. As of right now, we are not going. And but
if it's like the last Microsoft event, they'll send us an invite 3 days before.
We're not currently absolutely not on the list. You think I've checked.
Okay.
I've been in conversations and we are not on the list.
Okay.
A very exclusive event. You think that you thought earlier Windows might come out this year, Windows 9.
Wouldn't it surprise me?
And if
when is the event?
September 30th.
That is perfect timing for Windows to come out this year.
So there's still time.
Yeah, that's
1
in
month.
the window. They can't. That means they won't be shipping it on OEM PCs at Christmas time. But I don't think it matters anymore. I don't think Microsoft gives a shit about whether HP has Windows 8 machines to sell or not. I think they're interested in moving Surfaces and selling Windows through the Windows Store.
I feel bad for the Surfaces.
It's a great. Have you seen the new Surface ads?
Yes.
They were all over football this weekend because Surface is the official sponsor of NFL, official tablet of the NFL. They're very. I'm a PC versus Mac commercials. It's a white background. You have your MacBook Air next to your Surface Pro 3, voiceover, direct comparisons. This has touchscreen. This doesn't. That's
different from the Siri Cortana ads, right?
Yes,
but similar style.
Similar style.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very aggressive in terms of feature comparisons. I think it's a lot better than the. Have you seen the Galaxy Note ads? That
No.
Samsung? Those
They're
are
not good.
Terrible. It starts off, and this is very Samsung. First of all, we're taking a direct shot at Apple. Now I do concede that the last Samsung ad that I thought was clever was the airport one. Did you see that one? It was a montage of people at the airports.
I don't see
struggling.
ads. When do you see all these ads? Do you see them on the internet?
Why? Yeah, I don't
when I watch
ads.
when I
You
watch video
actively go look
shows,
for the-
when I watch video shows, it's like the same ad 4 times online.
Oh, on Hulu.
Oh,
Yeah, so I see them a lot.
All right, gotcha.
But Samsung had an ad where they were like people just fighting over like the charger port at the airport, which happens. I think it was an ad that really resonated.
That's why you got to be the nice guy that brings the power
That's
strip
right.
with you.
That's right. You got to bring the good
Travel
power
strip.
strip.
I just
too.
have my Mophie
You got
pack.
to bring the
has a
squid
USB
one.
plug. Can charge anything.
But
We're digressing.
I was giving power away.
Yes.
That's my favorite thing. I'm like, hey, you need to charge? I can.
Hey man,
I got you.
I
It's
got you.
cool.
I got you, bro.
Galaxy
Never
Note.
said that, actually.
Right after the iPhone 6 came out, the Galaxy Note ads. First of all, it starts off with on the Galaxy Note, the voice narrator reading reviews of the old Galaxy Notes, saying that it was like too big. It's like talking to a piece of bread. So basically, calling out, smack talking reviewers, and then saying now that the iPhone comes out, and then showing the blogs and the reviews saying, oh, Apple realizes that large is the right way to go, and then basically the point is we were here first. We've been doing this all along with our big phones. We were right. Haha. Fuck you, old tech journalists. And thank you, new tech journalists, which are the same people. And you know what? They're all just like I don't want to generalize, but many of those people they quote are just 24-year-old dudes. They're not exactly David Carrs of the world.
You're saying they're not. You're saying that the people quoted in that ad are not respected in the way that David Carr,
I think
New York Times columnist, is.
There's a bigger discussion about the state of like tech journalism in general, but I really don't like it.
We're in a minefield here. Chan.
When those ads just quote blogs and just assume that is authoritative.
This is why I just don't watch ads anymore. It's much easier.
Yeah. I didn't like it at all.
Do we want to talk about the Moto X pre-orders? Was there a big? Did everything collapse? Did the civilization fall?
Moto X is the current Android phone that I'm very excited about. It's the next one I'm reviewing.
It's bamboo.
There's a bamboo back option, 4 different wood back options.
What are
like
the other
one.
options?
You
get like koa,
a dark ebony
teak.
stain. There's like a walnut stain, a walnut backing.
Which one did you go with? Bamboo.
I went with the dark ebony.
Oh, nice.
Backing, which I thought was nice with the orange trim.
I'm interested in that because I think that like where glass and metal look worse the more they're aged and the more you use them, wood looks better the more it's used and the more kind of finger grease gets soaked in there and all that. It looks better and better.
For anyone interested in buying a Moto X ahead of, and there are reviews out, but ahead of our opinion at least, the Pure Edition, they quote, which is the unlocked, works on AT&T and T-Mobile edition, that one is sold out and very difficult to get a hold of right now. The straight up AT&T edition, which has, I think, a little bit of bloatware, but still mostly runs standard Android stuff. That one is available.
So the Pure one is the equivalent of their
developer.
Okay.
Yeah, Nexus version.
Yesterday morning, there was a leak about the next Kindle. We get a lot of questions about Kindles. People are asking if it's safe to buy a Paperwhite now, even though it is Kindle season. I have been telling people yes, that it is safe to buy a Paperwhite. But the new Kindle, which is seemingly going to be called the Kindle Voyage, it seems very similar to the Paperwhite. It's 8 millimeters thick, 186 grams, 6 inches, 300 DPI screen. But
300 DPI screen is much higher.
That is much higher. I don't feel like on the e-paper screen, the e-ink screen, the way those work, it's going to be a huge difference.
I would like to see it first.
I feel like the higher contrast made a difference. But my assumption is that this is going to be in terms of screen readability, a kind of minor update. It's more analogous to the Paperwhite one to the Paperwhite. Also, from the Paperwhite to the Paperwhite. They have not the Paperwhite 1 and Paperwhite 2, but the first gen Paperwhite to second gen Paperwhite. The big thing here, remember when Kindles used to have buttons on either side that you could turn the page?
Yes.
Those were good times. We all liked those times, didn't we?
Good.
You didn't have to worry about where on the screen you touched, and if you're...
It's not that big of an issue for me. Like, it hasn't really been too tough.
You don't live in a cold climate where people wear gloves.
While they're
reading their book on the subway.
Okay.
There's a whole market for warm gloves with capacitive fingertips.
Yes, or you can just carry a sausage around. We have covered this territory well in the past. Sausages work as capacitive touchscreen styluses.
I did not know that, but it makes
tasty
sense.
snack and also a page turning tool.
The Paperwhite, though, you don't have to have capacitive touchscreen. It'll work with gloves on, or at least most gloves, I think. I am excited about a return of buttons, but I can't imagine, if I wasn't going to buy one for the site, buying a new Kindle when I have a Paperwhite that is absolutely my favorite way to read books.
Yeah, unless they have a lot of new other features that we don't know about yet that have been added.
I don't know I can't imagine what else I want.
If they did something more with WhisperSync or more with Goodreads or I don't know yet.
But that stuff will come to the
all
platform.
Hardware. Yeah. I mean, that's all software upgrades, really.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I love my Paperwhite.
If it eye tracks and turns the pages for me when I reach the bottom of the screen, that might be okay. I don't know.
That would be intense, yeah.
I know. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but there we go. Presumably that's November 4th, I think, is what happened was the page leaked on it, like I think an Amazon Germany page or something like that.
And a Japan page.
It seemed kind of expensive, but prices were in euros, so I'm not going to even get into that. We'll see what happens. It seemed like the buttons, the page turn buttons, weren't actually buttons, but maybe some soft touch sensor, like a thing you can just brush your finger up against.
Then why? I guess for glove wearing.
Or just because people don't like touching the screen. I mean, I don't like touching the screen.
I got used to it.
I am used to it as well, but
you don't like it.
I'd rather not. Okay. Logitech last night showed their new Harmony Ultimate Home software. So this is it uses the same remote as the current Harmony Ultimate. It uses the hub, the Harmony Ultimate Hub, I think is what it's called, or something like that. And then you can control that just with an app, or you can buy one of two different remotes to use that with. And the remotes, like there's one with no screen for $100 or $150 or something like that. And then there's a crazy expensive one with a touch screen. We've tested the high-end one, and I absolutely love the remote. It's expensive, but it's traditionally what Harmony has done really well is taken something that was really difficult to get working the way you want it to work, like a home entertainment center with 15 different devices in it, and then makes it manageable for anyone. So you just hand them the thing and say, okay, hit the button, it'll turn on everything that you need to have turned on, put it on the right settings, and you kind of don't have to think about it.
So why do I want this? I have the one, and
Yes.
I love it. But why would I want this if my phone is going to do so many of these things?
So this, I don't know why you buy the remote because sometimes it's good to have physical buttons. The app takes a second or two to start. You have to you might have to flip through your pages and find the right one.
In a social setting, you don't want to give your phone to other people.
When the babysitter's at the house, I don't want to have to leave an iPad for her or something to control TV. The thing that they unveiled yesterday is actually a software update for the old version of the remote, as well as new versions of the remote that ship with the software that will control, it seems like almost every home automation standard that's out there that's not X10, which that never really worked. So it has, if you have, for example, like a SmartThings hub, which is a Z-Wave and Zigbee controller to control your light switches and shades and all sorts of other stuff, it'll work with that. It works with the Philips Hue light bulbs. It works with the Nest thermostat. It works with the Honeywell thermostat. It works with Lutron's proprietary dimmers and home automation stuff that they sell at Home Depot. It works with it was like 250,000 products in 15 or 20 different silos. It seemed like Yale, Schlage, and Quickset digital locks.
Oh yeah.
Some garage door openers, stuff like that. It was a massive list of things, and SmartThings kind of started this a long time ago by pulling in the Z-Wave and the Z-Wave and the Zigbee stuff into one ecosystem, so that if I have Z-Wave switches and Zigbee switches, I can use the same app to control all of them. but then that won't work with Nest, or it doesn't work with Lutron. So if you want to control the Nest from there, you have to do some FTTT stuff, and you end up getting in this horrible cobweb of like dependencies and weird stuff has to happen in order for all that to work. This glues all of that stuff together so that presumably you can hit a button on your remote, the shades will go down, the TV turns on to whatever channel you want, the lights dim, and you start watching a movie,
That's
whatever
great.
it is.
Yeah.
When you walk up to the door,
It's like a movie mode button that you can just press, and it does all the things that you need.
Part of me is extremely skeptical of this concept, right? Just as
There's
a whole.
a lot of moving parts.
So a lot of moving parts. It's moderately useless. Like, it's a thing
Lazy enabling.
Yeah, but it's a kind of gross. It's like a skeezy 70s bachelor kind of lazy, not a, hey, I just want to do
Is
this
it
as
going to
easy
make
as
my
possible.
TV rise from the foot of the bed?
If you have that TV, it'll do that. Yeah, you could put
I
the
don't have
disco,
that
drop the
TV.
disco ball from the ceiling and
Get the bed rotating.
Get the bed rotating.
Yeah.
It's you could Austin Powers that shit. There's 2 Austin Powerses in one podcast. That's a new record. Like on the other hand, having control over that stuff when I'm traveling and I want to flip the lights on and off so it looks like somebody's home, or having the house be smart enough to turn on my front door light when I pull in the driveway and it's after dark, like that stuff's really nice. I've been using a SmartThings hub for about 6 months now, and like having the lights turn on when it gets dark in the living room is wonderful. I don't ever have to think about that.
I really wish Ryan was here to talk about this with you, and maybe you guys
We
should
should
just
get him on,
together
yeah.
to talk about it in general, because he has done exhaustive research in this area because we just bought our first home, and he's really thinking about what would work best for us and how all these different systems would work together. And I just let him kind of, this was his pet project,
Yeah.
and so he's been going on it. And yeah, I think he'd probably have a lot of good stuff to add.
Well, so the challenge I've seen from using the SmartThings stuff is that it's not hard to get it all set up and kind of working a little bit. The hard thing, and this is what I hope Harmony eventually tackles, is making like once you have everything up and working, making it work intelligently so that because ideally you want that stuff to be invisible. You want to get up and go to the restroom in the middle of the night and have the lights in the bathroom just turn on just a little bit so you can see, but you don't get blinded. You want to come up to the front door and have the door unlock and the outside light turn on without having to think about it. I'm also a little concerned about security implications of this stuff, because when you start putting garage doors and your front door, your back door, whatever, on something that then has a electronic component, your threat profile goes up dramatically, and you go look at like DEF CON talks about hacking smart locks. It's terrifying. I mean, anybody with a smartphone in 15 minutes can break into one of those things, it seems like.
Right.
So
yeah, I'm a little nervous about those.
yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I think the lighting stuff's kind of neat. I feel like the shades and all that stuff would be neat if they weren't crazy expensive. And then it also integrates with Sonos and all that stuff as well. So
Wait till Apple puts it into all their ecosystem, and you don't.
well, so this is all. I think they're supporting iOS 8 APIs. They didn't say if they were doing HomeKit stuff. It's kind of unclear to me what HomeKit is right now. Like we haven't seen, like there's no passbook style front end for HomeKit. There's no. It's just a series of APIs that people can use that I presume do presence and hopefully will let you do Siri control of things like SmartThings and all that. It is nice with SmartThings to hit one button and turn off all the lights in the house when it's time to go to bed. Anyway, Canon announced some new cameras today. Yesterday?
No.
Day before?
3 days before.
Oh, right. It's, yeah. Okay.
It's Thursday
Yes.
today, at the very beginning of the week.
It's Thursday.
Photokina was going on. Have you ever been to Photokina?
No.
It's a giant, it's the big photography conference for hardware. And
Is it in Germany or something?
I don't think it's overseas. I've never been. I'd love to go. Nikon, Canon, everyone announces new lenses and stuff. And on the Canon side, two cameras that are pretty exciting, I think, for Canon fans. One is a 7D Mark II, which for people who do a lot of video production, 7D is a very popular DSLR used for on the go. It's relatively affordable. It fits all the Canon lenses.
For film, I assume. Or for movies, not necessarily.
Oh no, for web.
Okay.
Is what it's popular
Okay.
for. It's a $1,800 camera body, and the new one we've been waiting for like 3 years now, and it's tons of great autofocus, 10 FPS. It's a really fast sports shooter. So that's exciting. And then a small pocket camera, the PowerShot G7X, which is a lot like the Sony RX100 Mark III that I love. Basically, it uses the exact same sensor as what people are saying, but it has a really nice Canon lens that goes from 24 millimeter to 100 millimeter, 35 millimeter equivalent, of course. It's $700.
So same price range basically, but a little cheaper. Maybe.
$100 cheaper.
Haswell E NDAs are up. This is the Extreme Edition 8-core Haswells.
Oh, the NDAs were up when we were at PAX.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Friday was.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
okay, so we just shot the video yesterday. I thought that was what we were doing that for, but well, we'll talk about that when we're testing then. And Oculus Connect is this weekend.
Yes, Oculus Connect. So I hope to have a bunch of Oculus VR stuff to talk about next week. For people who, and the reason I talk about it now is for most people who can't go, they are live streaming the keynotes from both Michael Abrash and
John Carmack.
John Carmack and the CEO of Oculus, Brendan.
Iribe.
Is it Iribe? Iribe? I don't know. IRIBE.
I would say Iribe.
Iribe.
Yeah.
Kind of like the baseball player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are you shaking your fist at? Baseball?
He's shaking himself face at himself.
Oh.
People with hard to pronounce names.
Just at baseball in general. No, at the Dodgers.
Dodger. Okay, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
exactly
okay,
right.
right.
Yeah. Oh, ex-Giants players.
Yeah.
Traders. Free agencies ruined baseball.
CEO of Oculus donated $31 million to his alma mater. $31 million to build a computer science and VR center.
That's pretty good. Where do you go to school? Sorry.
I don't know exactly.
It's me asking the tough questions.
He and I think another Oculus co-founder both went there. He didn't graduate. And
Caltech or something?
No.
Okay.
They don't need his money.
They don't need.
Small school.
Okay.
Which is why he made. And it was a great move.
Anyway,
look forward to a lot of reports coming out of that.
You're going to be there,
and I'll be there.
Yeah, your West is going to be there too.
PC Gamer's going to be there.
PC Gamers, West Fenland. Yeah. I expect to hear all about the future of VR. There's going to be a ton of. If you are an Oculus developer, you're listening to the show still, then and you see Norm, go out and talk to him and tell him what you're working on, because we want to find people who make cool Oculus stuff. It's one of the things we're going for. I guess that's it for news. Do we want to talk about the NASA commercial crew program, just the tiniest bit? It's they gave $2 billion plus to both SpaceX and Boeing to develop to take the designs that those companies already have and move forward toward making them the crew vehicles for the ISS. So our reliance on the Soyuz program and the Russian space program is decreased. Take that, Putin.
I think it's awesome.
No, don't say that yet.
Oh wait.
Say that.
Oh yeah. It's all cool. We're good. I love you guys.
2017.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I find this very encouraging. I like that NASA and SpaceX especially have been working so closely together on so many things. I think it bodes well for a commercial space flight. It bodes well for the continued presence of NASA on the world landscape and getting Americans and humans to space.
People in space.
People in space is awesome. People in space is awesome.
No, you're absolutely right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to go to space. I would do anything to go to space. I would do literally anything to go to space.
Except
would you go to
space.
Mars? Would you be
I
the
would die in
first?
space.
Would you be
wait,
part of the first crew to
there's a
terraform
distance.
Mars?
Oh, Will has said in the past that
suborbital.
He would die on Mars, no problem.
You would die on Mars.
No hesitation.
No hesitation. But there's a distance. Like
I said that before I had a kid, though. So
I know. I was just going to ask. Would you bring your family?
I would wait. I presumably wait until my daughter is able to make a decision for herself.
Okay.
I feel like it's kind of a ripoff,
like
to take
Apollo
a kid.
13, where the kid, or not Apollo 13. Is it Contact? It's Contact, where the reason that Jodie Foster gets to go is because the astronaut, he excuses himself from the mission because the little kid's like, "Don't go, Dad.
Oh.
Please stay, Dad.
No,
I
that's
don't want
not.
you to go."
That's not Contact.
That's Contact. It's either Apollo 13 or Contact. I think it's Contact. 100%. Remember, they choose someone.
Okay.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie. I don't remember.
I'm gonna say okay.
Plot
and,
point.
Yeah, move on.
Yeah.
Would you go?
And how far? What would be the barrier?
What do you mean?
Like,
Would
to
you
Mars?
Would you go to lower? Would you go to the ISS? Would you do?
Would you? If
I
if
would
it
like
meant-
to. I would like to be part of the second group of people going to Mars.
To live and die there?
To live and die there. Like once they had, gotten a lot of the kinks out.
Like once the
made
hard work's
sure
done.
that once the hard stuff is done,
Yeah.
and we've got our little pods that we can live in, and
Yeah.
air is not an issue.
The
They're pretty
underground
sure
city.
air is good.
Yeah.
Air in our bubble or whatever it is that we have used to temporarily live on a terraformed portion
Martian
of Mars.
concrete.
I would, I'd be down.
Even if it's a one-way trip?
Yeah.
Like that's the end.
That's where you live on Mars now.
I
Well, you
mean-
can die on Earth. You might as well die on Mars.
Right.
You might as well see something no one else has ever seen.
What if
very few people have ever seen?
What if the singularity hits while you're on Mars and you then lose
But
the
why
ability
would
to
we
live
not
forever?
have that technology
'Cause
on
it's too
Mars?
heavy.
It's too heavy.
It's too heavy.
I think we'd be able to, if we can get data back and forth from Mars now, we'd be able to get my consciousness back to Earth.
The
Crash
upload,
guy.
real slow.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Be a little glitchy. Might lose some packets
Yeah.
here and there.
I lost the 90s. It's okay though.
I would not.
No
You would
loss.
not?
I would
Still?
not. I think to be a footnote in history would not be worth it.
First person to die on
But
Mars?
it's not about being a footnote in history. It's about experiencing something that so few have had the opportunity
And I
to
think
experience.
there's 99.9% of this world which is still
This
yet-
What
world-
if you
yet
had
to
terminal
explore.
cancer?
They're not going to take him.
Yeah, no.
He's a
Then
waste
I
of
wouldn't be
space.
useful. Yeah,
He's just dead mass.
You're right.
casket.
You're right.
No, there's plenty of stuff. I'd rather.
But are you doing? I mean, you're not doing it now.
Well,
you
I'm not going to
kinda
go to
are.
Mars now. If the option
the
was an
opportunity
all
came,
expense
you'd have
paid
to make
trip
the
to
decision.
Mars,
Now,
or
okay.
an all expense paid trip around to see all the awesome things around this world.
No one would ever give you that.
Well,
those options.
We're talking.
It would be like, hey,
hypotheticals.
This
Norm,
is what
you want to go to
Kickstarter's for.
Mars, and you'd say no. Now I have to fund my way around the Earth.
We should start Norm's awesome Kickstarter. It's a round the world trip for Mars
That
that
would
he'll
have to be a
document for the
GoFundMe.
site.
Around the-
well,
Oh, right.
That would have to be a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
I
Well, we
think.
can make a film about it.
Yeah.
Then
Do a
it's a
Patreon.
Kickstarter. Yeah.
Anyway, I'd go.
Yeah. Why you get to see the largest mountain in the solar system?
Yeah.
Why would you know you can't see that on Earth? Can't
It's
see
not going
that
to be
on
in your
Earth.
I haven't
holovids.
seen half the largest mountains on Earth.
Well, then you should get around more.
I just don't think you'll do it.
Oh, but-
I just don't think that.
But it's the same thing
given
with
the
Mars.
opportunity-
I think from a personal enjoyment level, what you get out of Mars is the fact that no one else has seen it.
you get to be part of
Oh.
something new. You get to be part of something new. You're a new
So then
civilization.
that's the footnote of history.
Do you know how hard it is to go someplace that people have never been on Earth? You have to be James Cameron. And
Well,
even then, two people had already been there.
And you know what? I don't care about people who've already been there or not. But I'm saying that compared to going to Mars and compared, if we're talking about hypotheticals, there's the same amount of it's more difficult to get someone to Mars.
Think about
and
how
die
awesome-
than it is to explore all the awesome places on Earth.
Think about how awesome it would be to go out and take a field trip out to the Curiosity Rover, give it a high five, and be like, hey, nice job, Rover.
I don't think that's going to happen within your lifetime. Well,
I can dream. Let's take a quick break and talk ever so briefly about what we've been testing. Norman Chan. Mm-hmm. How's that Soylent going?
I'm done with the Soylent.
You're done.
I'm done.
Do you have any?
I don't have it here.
Oh.
Oh, did you want to try it?
Yeah.
I have two extra. I have
He has 2 days
I have
worth.
2 days worth left because they gave me extra, and my housemate also is on it. So next time I see you,
Okay.
we can plan in advance for this. Oh, we should have done a taste testing if I'd known you'd want to try it.
It's okay.
I
We didn't
thi-
even know I was going to be here until like yesterday or whatever it was.
You were a last minute. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, by the way, for your flexibility.
I can tell you it's chalky.
Uh-huh.
And
Hmm.
you get very farty. Notice
already
measurably.
farty.
No, measurably.
More farty.
Norm's fartiness
farty.
is usually very low.
And having stopped since it's Thursday now, zero. Compared,
What is it about it that makes you farty?
So you get the right things that you normally in most people's diets don't get enough of. I'm not sure exactly.
So it's
what.
like if I ate nothing but broccoli.
So you're getting, if you ate how a human healthy should eat, you would be farty.
So you're saying if I have a perfect diet high in
That's why
fiber and
vegans
all
are
that
so
stuff.
farty.
Yeah.
No, vegans don't get the stuff they supposed. It's really hard to be a vegan and eat healthy.
Well, you saw the Portlandia skit where they made fun of the vegan restaurant and they had the fart
yeah.
patio.
It's all natural.
It's a thing. It's a
Yeah.
joke.
Oh.
That was supposed to be Cafe Gratitude, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're doing a video series on the site right now for
It's-
premium members to document. I'm still alive, so spoilers.
Spoilers.
Did you lose any weight?
I didn't. I did not lose significant amount. It's not a weight loss.
Okay.
Because it's supposed to supplement the 2,000 calories you need every day.
Normal also cheated and ate a lot of bananas in his Soylent.
You're supposed to, Soylent recommends that you blend your Soylent with things like nut butters and bananas and fruit to change the flavor, and you're encouraged to experiment with that, and so that's what I did.
Okay.
Every day I tried something
If
different.
they say you're allowed to do that, I don't see what the problem is.
I felt
That's
like
not
that was a
cheating.
violation of the spirit of the contest.
What about, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. How did you feel?
It felt fine. There was
Like energy level?
Energy levels were fine.
Okay.
There were some psychological things that happened.
I don't want to give up all this premium content, but
the
I'm
psychological
very
things that
curious.
happen, they're definitely when you are doing nothing but portioning your meals, and I'm sure anyone who goes on a diet experiences this. But when you are portioning your meals, so you get exact number of calories a day, and you are not allowed to snack and eat anything else, just self-imposed. Psychologically, that does bad things to you.
There's a wonderful episode of Radiolab called Gutless about this guy named John Rayner, who had Crohn's disease and had to have get GI surgery, and as a result was unable to eat food for like 6 months. He had like a tube that he dumped the food pouches in, but nothing went in through his mouth. He couldn't taste anything. You should listen to that if you're curious. When I saw you on Monday, you were kind of crotchety.
A little hangry.
No. Monday was also the last day. I was looking forward to a real meal.
You were,
What was the first thing you ate?
That will be for video. I will
Damn.
not. I will
Oh,
not.
all right.
That's
I'm
the
gonna
one.
have to
That
pay
is
you
one
guys
thing
money.
I won't
right.
spoil. I'll tell you after the
Okay,
podcast.
okay.
I will say, interestingly, there are studies where if you mentally associate the sensation of being full, disassociate the sensation of being full with the pleasure of taste, psychologically, then you can train yourself to live, to not want to crave things. For example, if your only way to get full is drinking like oils and stuff and gross taste things, eventually you will just get accustomed to that because that's how you survive and get full, and so you won't need to, you don't crave like things to eat to get full.
Okay.
Like you'll taste awesome things when you want to, and you'll eat to get full when you need to.
Gotcha.
That seems healthy. Veronica Belmont,
Yes, Will Smith.
explain The Sims.
If I was able to explain The Sims, I would probably not play The Sims as much.
If
That makes any sense? Maybe not.
I played the first Sims.
Yeah.
And I did horrible things to my little virtual people and laughed maniacally and then, kind of moved on. Then I played the second Sims pretty much the same way.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that there was a fourth Sims now.
Yeah, the Sims 4 is out, and it is Sim-like.
Okay.
It is,
Is Bella Goth there?
yeah, all the
Okay.
Goths are there.
The Goths
Goth
are there.
family represents.
Nice.
And it's more of the same, but in a good way. They've made some tweaks to the personality traits and some of the sim automation stuff, what they do on their own time.
Okay.
They actually scaled back some of the ways you can make your characters look a little bit.
So they look more like characters and not like
No, they
real people?
look better.
Okay.
I mean, the graphics and the character design is better. But you could do, if I remember correctly, you could do a little bit more with their weight and like shaping.
Gotcha.
But you can get real specific with how your features look. So you can make a sim that looks almost exactly like you. My problem is that, I don't know what this says about me, but my first sim looked exactly like me, worked in technology, played video games for fun, and it was...
So you made little you.
I made a mini-me.
Was her name Veronica?
Her name was Veronica Belmont.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Pretty
very nice.
good.
And,
that could also be your Minecraft character name.
Yeah. And she died of embarrassment.
Really? You can die of embarrassment?
She did. She
happened?
was looking for love.
Okay.
I did not make a Ryan Blockmont. So
Okay.
she was looking for love in all the wrong places. She found a sim that, seemed compatible. We hit it off. We started, doing the romance
But
thing.
she was taking the Soylent.
No, sadly, she tried to ignore the fact that he had told her that he was non-committal. And so I proposed. He turned me down. I went to the bathroom to cry, and then I died on the floor of the bathroom.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that is dark.
The Grim Reaper came
What?
and said, "Your sim has died of
Now,
embarrassment."
how did you get all that
Game
through
over.
Simglish or?
No, well, I mean, so you learn about other characters by talking to them. So you can have deep conversations with them, or you can learn more about the other Sims in your area by talking to them.
So like their
it's text
character
on
So
the
up
page
at the
fills
top
out.
it said, like, you have learned that Simon is non-committal.
Oh, got it. Okay. It's not like the character says.
No, you can't
okay.
understand Simlish.
Yeah.
Afredishe. Zoom zoom.
Oh my gosh.
Our friend, you know Dan Amrick, right?
Yeah, of
He
course.
sang a Simlish song for one of the early Sims expansion packs. Like
That's amazing.
he was there, and yeah, it's pretty
The
rad.
music is so spot on. Like, it sounds like the
Oh.
artist. There's a Soundgarden song in The Sims. It's not really Soundgarden, or it might be.
It's Soundgarden-ish.
Sounds exactly like Soundgarden singing in Simlish. It's incredible.
So with Sims, this is still a PC game, right? Because like
Yeah. Well, they have other versions for
It's-
other platforms,
I
too.
was gonna say, it's often been like a thing that I would think, oh, I would totally play this if I could sit on the couch and watch TV on my iPad while I was, doing
Console
something.
versions aren't as good, I don't think.
But I don't want to play on the TV. I want to play on my iPad.
There's iOS versions of The Sims, but they're
Interesting.
also not
They're
as good.
probably not good, right?
Yeah.
Have you created another character? Have you gone back for more?
I went back to an earlier save and started
cheap
over.
save scumming.
What did you just say?
Save scumming is
Yeah.
what that's called.
Oh, save
It's
scumming.
not roguelike at all.
Yeah.
No,
No.
it doesn't have to be. It's
Playing The Sims as a roguelike could be kind of interesting. Okay.
And so I just started, I followed the same career path. I just met a different guy, met a
Okay.
nice guy at the gym, and we're taking it slow.
Does it still have like the town thing where you go to the town and you can go explore the local
so some
businesses
people-
and
some-
shops and
yeah,
stuff?
some people were saying that you can go on dates, you can have special events, throw parties, have birthday parties, celebrations, all sorts of social things. They took away pools, so you can't have a pool party anymore.
Wait, what?
They took away pools and toddlers, and pets.
Well, I'm okay
So all
with
the
the
things
toddlers.
that kind of came in with the expansions that you would assume that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
would incorporate into this full version, they're going to save probably for future expansions.
Is it
as well.
lousy with microtransactions because it's an EA game?
I don't futz around on the store too much.
Okay.
There is the Origin store, and there is the Sims store, community store.
But you're playing and having fun without.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't feel the need to add that stuff right now.
Cool.
You spend sim money.
Simoleons?
Simoleons.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Hey,
forgot what those
deep
were
cuts.
called. You can spend simoleons in the game to buy stuff.
Okay.
And I haven't used the unlimited money cheat yet, which I'm sure is still in there. It's been the same cheat for every game.
It's I can't remember what it is.
I can't remember what it is
It's a
either.
really long sentence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Sims 4.
It's fun. It's Sims. If you like The Sims, you'll like Sims 4.
Speaking of things that are fun, I've been backing up all of my computers at home to the internet.
Good.
Yeah.
That is fun.
Huh?
That is fun.
The sense
It's-
of
it's-
accomplishment.
Yeah, it's a sense of it's a big weight off your shoulders.
So, well, it's taken a while.
yes, it does take a while.
So-
especially if backing everything up.
I looked at my router this morning, which has a bandwidth tracker, to see. I thought, oh, I'm going to be out of town this weekend. So before I left for Portland, I loaded it up on my Mac and my PC at home. I was like, okay, guys, back up as fast as you can.
And this is Crash Plan that
This is
provided
Crash
a code.
Plan. They sent us a code to test it out when we talked about it on the podcast a few weeks ago. You're a Backblaze user, so at some point we'll do a comparison between the two. I would assume several months down the line.
Yes.
When I looked at the router this morning to see how much bandwidth I had used during the course of my weekend away, when the computers were on all the time going as fast as they could to the internet, I was floored. Just absolutely blown away. I'm doing, guess, Norm, how much data? I told Veronica already, so it's ruined.
How much data you've uploaded?
How much data I've uploaded per day since Wednesday of last week.
Can you tell me how much total you need to back up?
2 computers. One has a 4 terabyte drive, and the other has like a 1 terabyte SSD array and a 2 terabyte drive. I haven't even started on the home server yet.
1.5 terabytes a day.
No, it's just 100 gigabytes a day. 1.5 terabytes a day would be amazing, but Comcast upstream doesn't do that.
No.
Yeah, but 100 gigabytes a day. We theoretically have a bandwidth cap of like 250 gigabytes a month.
Wow.
So I assume
I'm going to get a call or
I'm going to get
whatever.
the nasty gram at some point.
Because I uploaded 3 terabytes for my backup.
How long did it take? A month?
A month. It took
Yeah.
a full month.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
it wasn't, I think I did 1.5 terabytes and it took like 14 days or something.
Yeah, I assume it's going to be a while
Yeah.
yet.
I did a lot of it back when I was at the Revision 3 offices, so I used a lot of
Oh,
their
the
bandwidth.
The fat pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then at home, I use Crash Plan. I've been a user for a long time. and I really like it.
So far, my only complaint is that I wish that I'm using CrashPlan. I wish that the app was smarter and would look at, because you can set it based on when the computer's idle or when the computer's on to limit bandwidth.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish that it would be a little bit more transparent about what your, like, I know what my upstream bandwidth is. It's not a problem, but I think normal people probably don't. And I wish it would use like 70% so that, because it's absolutely capable of clogging the upstream pipe to the point that the internet is slow, sending requests out and getting them back in, which is a little bit unfortunate.
You should switch to Astound. Faster
If I had
speeds.
Astound in Pacifica, I would have done that. Dear Astound guys, I live in Pacifica, the far end where there's all the density and the people. You should come to our neighborhood. It's terrible. There are a lot of potential customers. Yeah, I would totally do them. Famously, you guys switched to Astound.
Famously, we quit Comcast.
Yes.
Quietly, we switched to Astound.
How's the arcade cabinet coming, Norm?
Good. We have an episode about laser cutting this week up, and then I would say we are about 2 weeks away from completion.
2 episodes away,
2
or 2 weeks of
episodes.
work? Okay.
2 episodes away from completion.
I'm excited to see the final cabinet.
Yes, as am I.
Is it to the point that you can play with it yet?
No.
Okay.
Not
So
currently.
you're just sitting in your garage, looking sad and waiting.
Looking real nice.
Okay.
Looking real nice.
You did a nice job on the finishing, I thought.
There will be more finishing to be done.
Have you cut air holes for ventilation yet?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
Many air holes.
I was worried about that. Roku 3?
There's a Roku 3 stick that we've been testing. We'll be shooting a video with that next week, comparing it to the Chromecast. Also revisiting the Chromecast. I like it so far. It's expensive compared to the Chromecast, but it's basically a Roku 3 in stick
Does
form.
this need power too?
It does need power.
You didn't bring me the remote.
That is a good point. I
Yeah.
didn't bring you the remote.
I guess I'll follow you home tonight because you're not going to be back in the office.
I need to
you're going
leave
straight
in.
to
I
the
need to leave in
airport.
5 minutes
Okay.
to the airport.
Okay.
Do you have a Roku?
I do not.
Okay, we'll find a way to get you the remote.
We'll figure it out.
And then I also bought a handheld vacuum for my home office.
Did you have a vacuum before?
I had a big old
Like a
3
stand-up?
generation old Dyson.
Okay.
And then like 2 years ago I bought a crappy portable handheld stand
Like
up.
a dustbuster?
I forget
Red
which brand
Devil
it
or
was,
something?
but it was still a
Okay.
stand up, a lighter one, which runs for 8 minutes. And then I bought a Dyson handheld, and it's the best thing ever.
Which one did you get? Do you remember?
DC34, which is an old generation
How much is it?
one.
Is that the yellow one?
It's the sexiest thing I've ever seen. And
Don't-
I
did
know,
you, hold on, hold on,
and
hold on.
I know, and
Show
I
me.
say it with caveats.
I want to see the pictures.
I'm going to
Just
show you the
described
picture
a
right
piece
now.
of technology as sexy.
But that's which
Gross.
I said it facetiously.
whatever.
I said it facetiously.
Okay.
Um,
Gross.
it looks like a space gun.
Oh no, okay. I've
Can I
got the
see?
stand up. Yeah.
It's hand vacuum.
Oh, it looks like something you can kill bugs
I
with.
desperately want
This
that.
is something that I have killed so many bugs, sucked up so many bugs.
We have a
in
major spider problem
with.
right
Yes,
now, and
yes.
I
You
should
feel
get a
sad
cat.
because I have a cat.
Get a
They're too
better
high.
cat.
I should get
Get
a
a
better
trampoline.
Cat. I should.
Yeah.
A cat trampoline.
Yeah, can trampoline.
The one thing that bums me out about this, and it's something that it's not easily fixable, is that because it's a portable vacuum, and it uses a battery, which is fine, does the whole 18 minutes. You cannot plug it in and use it when the battery runs out.
But that's the way all
I know,
handheld
I know.
batteries work
Yes.
because it has a dock, right?
It doesn't have a dock. It just plugs into
just
the
plugs
back,
in.
but there's no
Oh.
switch from the AC/DC.
Gotcha.
So if there was a switch in there and lets you run off the AC, then
Yeah,
that
I've
would've
got
been
an old
awesome.
Dirt Devil or something.
So
and
I have
it's gnarly. It doesn't really work as well anymore.
you clean the filter, right?
do, yeah.
Okay. I
I
had to
do.
explain to a loved one that
But
their
that was-
vacuum didn't work because they never cleaned the filter. And they're like,
more-
"Oh, this thing's amazing still."
Well, Dyson's filterless.
Yes, but you still have to
there's
dump
a filter.
the dust
You
out.
there
can
is a
you can
filter?
clean it. You can wash it though, and
Oh.
you just got to wash it.
But
You
the whole
still-
point was that they were
You
filterless.
still have to empty it
You
sometimes.
still have to empty it sometime.
Yeah.
Well, you have to empty it. Of course, you have to
Right.
empty
Where's
it.
the
It's
dust
not
go?
gonna.
It
It's
doesn't
not
vaporize
a,
it.
Yeah, it doesn't vaporize.
That would be
for that price, though.
amazing.
It should
Yeah,
definitely
it should
vaporize,
vaporize it.
Yeah.
It looks like a space pistol,
It looks,
and it is.
when
It just
that
looks so beautiful.
when that breaks, you can make a gun out
She's
of it.
holding it
Will
like
you
a
send me
gun.
that picture and I'll post it as the podcast art?
Sure.
I can
Yes.
crop out anyone you
I'll,
don't want
I'll
to
do,
have
I'll
in the
do this.
picture.
I'll do it right now
Okay.
because I really need to go.
That will do it for
Mhm.
us this week. If you have questions, we'll answer questions next week because we got talking about nonsense this week instead. The email address is podcast@tested.com. That's it. Send questions there. Veronica, thanks for coming by.
Yeah. Thanks for having me again.
People can reach you at Veronica
At
on Twitter
Veronica.
is the easiest way, probably.
Probably.
Okay. Norman Chan, you're going to be at Oculus Connect. If people see you, Should they yell something specific at you to get your attention?
Absolutely not.
Scream, Chan!
Absolutely not. Professional capacity. Be professional.
Just come up and give a fist bump and say hi.
Sure.
Okay.
Fist bump.
Fist bump's good at conferences. Keep the germs down.
Spreading it.
Yeah.
I mean, not spreading it. Not spreading germs.
That's it. Today's outro comes from MP3 Junkie. I haven't listened to it yet. It could be really offensive. Hi there. I didn't see you. Maybe they're afraid of me. I don't know. I'm intimidating. I'm not saying it's a girly watch. I'm just saying that it is a watch for girls.
Oh my god.
Exactly. Right.
They're going to change this next year, and this is going to look like a turd sandwich.
You can literally...
You know, it's the thing that Apple does, where they say something that sounds like it's a real thing, but it's not. It's something they just made up. That was a lot of stuff. Have a good trip, Norm.
Bye.